There it is. That's what I was waiting for. Okay, for the record, it's April 29th, 2024. I'm Phil Albright's hearing examiner for City of Lake Stevens. This morning we have an application for conditional use permit and administrative design review, file number LUA 2023-0176 and 2023-0177. The hearing format is we'll start off with a presentation from staff. And is that Ms. Place? Are you doing the staff presentation today?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, there you're the lucky person to give us an overview of the project. Once you're finished, then we'll move on to applicant. If the applicant wants to add anything, they'll have that opportunity. You don't have to, but if you want, that's of course perfectly fine. Then we'll move on to public comments. If we have any members of the public with us today who want to say something, they'll get a chance as well. That's the purpose of today's hearing. Although so far it looks like maybe we don't have any members of the public. Is that correct, Ms. Fenrich?
I believe so. I don't know,
Okay.
Leon, are you with the team? Or
No.
so you're public.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll let you talk if you want to once we get to that part of the hearing. Then, well, that's good. We got at least one member there. So once the public is done, we'll move back to Ms. Place to give us answers to any questions that were raised and provide rebuttal evidence if she finds that necessary. Then the applicant gets final word, and I get 10 business days to issue a final decision. Now, by state law, I'm only allowed to consider. Oh, sorry. What was that? Okay, I think that was just some background noise, it sounds like. Yeah, okay. All right, well, here's like I was saying, by state law, I'm only allowed to consider evidence that's put in the record today, and that evidence would be composed of the testimony provided by all the hearing participants and any exhibits that are entered into the record. Ms. Place has put together a staff recommendation along with a compilation of documents that she thinks are relevant and necessary to be in the record to support her recommendation. And what I'm showing on the screen right now are the exhibits that Ms. Place put together, composed of a total of 16 documents. Number one being the staff recommendation. We have the applications for design review, conditional use permit review, the determination of completeness, site plans that were involved with public notices that went out. We had one public comment letter, which was really, from what I recall, mainly just kind of an inquiry about what the project was going to be about and when a decision was going to be made. We have the applicant submittal package, which includes building elevations and civil plans, landscaping plans, traffic mitigation, trip generation, which anticipates how much traffic is going to be generated, the storm drainage review, that kind of thing. And we also have a planning commission recommendation to the city council with some pertinent legislation, administrative interpretations, and utility availability letters, and the critical areas review, which found no critical areas on the project site. At this point, I just want to ask if anyone has any objections or needs to see any of the documents that are listed on there on the screen. Just if you have an objection or want to see a document and you're participating virtually, just click on the yellow raise hand button at the bottom of your screen, or if you're in the hearing room, just say, I want to see these or have an objection. Okay, seeing no objections, then I'll admit exhibits 1 through 16 as identified at pages 17 and 18 of Mrs. Place's staff report. So Ms. Place, let me swear you in. Just raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm to tell the truth, nothing but the truth in this proceeding?
I do.
Oh, great. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. I do have a short PowerPoint presentation that I'd like to share and go over and just kind of go over the highlights of the project. Up here. So before I do that, though, I just want to make sure that everyone received the revised staff report. I did have a couple of revisions that I sent out. I believe it was last Thursday, and it looks like you had the correct version, Mr. Hearing Examiner, where we made a couple of revisions to some of the conditions of approval, 3 of them, number 6, number 16, and number 17, and then a couple of small revisions within the body of the report that link to those recommended conditions of approval.
That's right. I think you did that in track change, correct? Which was really helpful. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Between the original and then this revised report. Okay, so I will start my presentation. So this afternoon, we have a public hearing on the village concepts at Lake Stevens project. This is a conditional use permit and administrative design review permit. A little bit of the project information. which is that this project is 140 units of assisted living and memory care facility. 20 units will be devoted to memory care and 120 units to the assisted living. The applicant is Packland Engineering on behalf of Rush Development and Village Concepts. The property owner is Lake Stevens Property Co. LLC. The property address is 9035 28th Place Northeast, and the property size is approximately 2.61 acres, and those are all on one parcel. This is an aerial, and this is included in the staff report as well, but it just shows the location of this particular proposal. The pin shows the subject property. This is essentially lot 2 of the 8-lot commercial binding site plan for Soper Hill Commercial. Highway 9, as you can see, is to the west, and then Soper Hill Road directly south with the mini roundabout that was constructed on Soper Hill Road a few years ago. To the east and north is the Lake Stevens Early Learning Center and also the Stevens Creek Elementary School on 29th Street Northeast. A little bit of background, this application for the conditional use permit and design review were received back in September of last year. It was determined complete in October. The project underwent roughly 2 rounds of review with city staff. The applications and the hearing were publicly noticed in accordance with our city code. And then this project is similar to a previous approved assisted living facility that was proposed on the same property back in 2019, except that the current proposal is a little bit smaller in scope. And in the staff report, we get into details about the square footages and the heights compared to the proposal that was in 2019. The proposal from 2019 did expire, and so this current application is under a brand new application that was submitted last fall. The process for the conditional use permit and design review is that the CUP is required if the footprint is greater than 10,000 square feet into a commercial zoning district in our code. The proposed building footprint for this is 32,430 square feet. And the CUP is also required to increase the height up beyond 55 feet, which is our maximum in our zoning district. The request is to go up to 65 feet. Our code does allow up to 80 feet with a conditional use permit. And then the 2 applications, the design review is a type 1 and the CUP is a type 3, essentially creates this quasi judicial proceeding, which we're holding today. And we are consolidating the permit process as we reviewed it, and we create 1 hearing and 1 decision. So this is the open record public hearing today, and the hearing examiner has already stated would be making a decision on this for both permits. The public meeting we held on this project back in November 27th of last year, and then the city looked at the proposal back in 2019, and we had issued a SEPA MDNS, or mitigated determination of non-significance for that project for the overall master commercial development, if you will, back in 2019. And we received no comments or appeals on that. So we did an adoption of that existing document for this current proposal because it's very similar in size and scope, and the impacts are actually less for this particular proposal. A little bit about the property information. The comp plan designation is commercial. The zoning designation is commercial. And I guess I already indicated this is lot 2 of the Soper Hill binding site plan. The site is essentially already an existing pad that is development ready. So the infrastructure was installed with previous master development. There are no critical areas on site. This is for the critical area study that was conducted as part of the 2019 overall development. And then the access is provided off internal private roads off of Soper Hill Road and 29th Street Northeast. Thought I'd throw some of the building elevations and the site plan in here, just so everyone has an idea of what this is going to look like. This is a proposed 3D rendering that shows the front of the facility, and the bottom picture, you can see the porte cochere and the memory care wing off to the left. And then the top picture, it shows the northern and eastern elevations. Essentially, there's like a patio on that corner that would have the main dining room, and then sort of a pedestrian walkway around the building. The total size of the proposed building is 125,062 square feet. And as I said earlier, the footprint is actually 32,430 square feet. The max under the CUP that we defined in the city staff report would be to go up to 32,500. That gives a little bit of leeway and flexibility in design changes for the building permit between now with this decision and the actual building permit issuance. And the proposed heights, 59 feet 6 inches. And then again, the applicant's requesting a max up to 65 feet for the same, basically to allow some flexibility in design, but it would not increase the number of stories that they're proposing nor the density. The 140 units with memory care is essentially an age in place community. And there will be a shuttle service, or at least a shuttle on the grounds for the residents of the facility. There is also loading zone and service access for the garbage at the rear of the building. The project is showing 72 parking stalls with landscaping and patios, pedestrian pathways, a memory care courtyard, raised garden bed, shuffleboard court, and a water feature. And there are numerous indoor amenities for the residents, including a salon, dining area, theater, nursing care, great room, laundry, and I'm sure I'm missing a couple in there as well. So this is the site plan that is the exhibit in the staff report, the latest site plan that we had received. And you can see this is the front entry has the curved radius to allow for drop off. There's a temporary loading zone there. The memory care court is labeled on this plan. And then in the northwest corner, in this top left corner, it shows the trash enclosure and the loading drive there and access for the service. And then down here, all of the parking. So there would be access off of the street here, and then also another access here. And then what I've done is provide the landscaping plan next that kind of gives you a little bit of understanding of how this is going to look with street trees and sidewalks and a frontage strip along the two streets. And then an actual sidewalk here leading from these parking spaces, the ADA spaces, over to the front entry, a water feature, and then the fencing and some accessible raised garden beds here in the front. And I've actually zoomed in. This is a zoom in of that front area where you can see some benches, bicycle racks, the water feature. And here you can see a little more detail about the shuffleboard court and the memory care and the paver patios. So there's a lot of amenities here on the outside that meet our design guidelines and our requirements for a building such as this. So going through the conditional use decision criteria in the staff report, we responded to each of these criteria, and there are 8 criteria total, and I don't want to read over each one of them in detail, just so I can save folks some a little bit of, I don't want to say brain damage, but a little bit of, you don't have to go through each one. But anyway, ultimately, these are all the criteria and how we decide on a conditional use permit. And a lot of it has to do with the compatibility with the adjacent properties and the types of the use, the operational information, and the requested modifications to the use itself. And in this particular, I'm sorry, I said 8, there was actually 9. So of those conditional use criteria in our staff report, I had findings and conclusions that it is consistent with the comprehensive plan, that the use is permitted within the commercial zoning district, and it does meet our zoning district standards as modified through the conditional use permit process. That as conditioned, it's consistent with the CUP criteria, and as conditioned, it meets the design review standards, that it has met the SEPA standards, there are utilities available to serve the project, and ultimately it has met the procedural requirements of the Lake Stevens Municipal Code. So ultimately, our recommendation is that city staff recommends approval of the conditional use permit and the administrative design review subject to the conditions in our staff report. And that concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have at this time, Mr. Examiner.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just a little curious because it is a bit of a tall building for Lake Stevens, what kind of impact that has on the adjoining uses, whether it's going to block sunlight to a play area or classroom windows or something. I mean, you could kind of show on the aerial how the building's going to be configured in relation to the buildings that adjoin the property. It looks like, yeah, from that, it looks like there's quite a bit of separation between the building and anything that would be close to it, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's it. So basically you have the school parking lot separating the school buildings and play areas, it looks like, from the proposed building. So really, and then even on the west side there, it looks like we also have parking separating the buildings from the commercial buildings there. What's that? So that's a vacant lot right to the north on the west side. Is that correct? What is that there?
This right here.
Yeah.
Yes, that's also a vacant lot. That was vacant lot 1 of the commercial buying site plan. And we actually have a application submitted for that in right now as well.
Oh, okay.
That will be headed your way soon too, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay. Things are happening. Okay, great. Thanks, Ms. Place. Appreciate your comments. All right, let's move on to applicants. Who's representing the applicant? Like I said, don't have to say anything, but now's your chance.
My name is Bill Fortunato.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Mr. Oh, let me swear you in. Just raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm to tell the truth, nothing but the truth in this proceeding?
I do.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Do you mean to read my address for the record or?
You can, I mean, it's not, since that's already in the record, right? In your application,
Okay.
as I take it, yeah, so yeah, you can just
Fine.
go ahead, yeah.
We appreciate the opportunity to speak here today, and just generally would just like to thank staff for working with us. It's been, I've been involved with the project since late 2019, and there's been, you know, a number of applications and a number of different things. And, you know, given the climate and the market and things, you know, are changing, we've, you know, worked through, you know, constructing the majority of the infrastructure through the COVID, you know, shutdowns and things like that. And now we're seeing activity out there, and we have some retail that's out there now, and are looking forward to, you know, just another piece of the puzzle to fall into place. The other thing we like to add is we have been in contact with the school district. They were a party to that road being connected through. And one of the things the school district has always said is they wanted some sort of assisted living to go there, because they have an opportunity for the, you know, the younger children to interact with the older generations, and they're planning on reaching out when this thing gets opened, so they could have some kind of joint, you know, field trips and things like that. So the school district has always been very supportive of this use on this lot.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mr. Fortunato. All right, let's move on to public comments at this point. And did we have one taker there? I think, like I said, if you want to say something, just click on the virtual yellow hand at the bottom of your screen if you're participating virtually. And Ms. Fenner, do we have somebody who's in the hearing room too that wanted to speak, or is it just?
No, we don't have a separate
Okay.
room. We're all in together. Leon, if he wants to speak, would raise his hand, I'm thinking.
Yeah, or unmute yourself. Yeah. Oh, see, it doesn't look like he's wants to, and that's perfectly fine, Mr. Grunstein. If you're having trouble connecting for whatever reason, or figuring out how to be heard, you know, go ahead and send an email to Ms. Fenrich and email your comments to her, and I'll let the applicant staff respond to them as well. So anyway, I guess with that, I think we can, I mean, Ms. Place, did you need to say anything in response to Mr. Fortunato's comments?
No, I don't. have
Okay.
any
All
additional-
right, so I can go ahead then and close the hearing. As I said, for Mr. Grunstein, if you couldn't participate for some reason, go ahead and email some comments to Ms. Fenrich by 5 p.m. tomorrow, and then we'll let the applicant staff respond to that. Beyond that, looks like a pretty good project, fairly benign impacts, and you know, necessary you know, service for the community for people in my age demographics. So it's good to see that coming in, and a great addition to the Lake Stevens community. So should be able to approve that and get that out within the next couple of weeks. So thanks all for your participation, and we're done for this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Oh, it's, oh, okay. Oh, did you know?